So how long did you, I forget, how long have we been studying together? I
It
think that
seems forever.
it starts forever. And this is, okay, I don't know if this is good or bad, but okay. But I think we've been together for 4 years. What can you tell me a little about the difference between courses and private classes? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Maggie Talks podcast first episode. And today we have a very special guest, a student of mine, a dear student of mine, who's been with me for quite a while. And today's topic is the frustration or the demotivation you might feel after studying so many years and not feeling confident, especially at work. So, Renato, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited. Super excited.
I'm glad to hear that.
And I'm excited because I'm the first one. Because that's the
Yes.
first episode, so it means something.
Yes, it does. It really does. And it's nice because we are familiar with each other.
Yes.
And do you feel frustrated after studying English for so long and not being able to feel 100% confident?
For sure. For sure. And several times. I've been studying English for 10 years from now. And I've tried a lot of, these regular courses that we have with low price and, low quality.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, for sure. And for a long time, I was struggling with my English.
But you mentioned something very, very interesting. You tried those budget courses.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's true. I've got a lot of students who studied in courses in which they could afford at the time. And they all say the same thing. It is true that sometimes you pay less and you get less, and there are some courses in which you don't feel any progress at all. But starting is important.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have budget and the only course that fits your budget is a very simple one, try, because starting is already something very, very important. Don't be discouraged because eventually you're gonna get a better course, a better teacher, and then move on. But starting is fundamental. you know?
Yes, I agree because I'm thinking maybe because I started with these courses, I was prepared. At the moment I start doing private classes,
Mhm.
maybe the basic was already covered and maybe the intermediate. And when we start working on my English in a private classes, I was like maybe a little prepared,
Mhm.
more prepared to start this classes.
Absolutely.
And then I started see real progress. Each classes I was improving, pronunciation, confidence, a lot of things. It's because it's not just say the words properly,
Mhm.
pronounce the words properly. It's the way you speak,
Yes.
the way you communicate. And in private classes, I think it was, the thing.
So how long did you? I forget. How long have we been studying together?
Oh, I don't remember.
I
It
think
seems forever.
It starts forever. And this is okay. I don't know if this is good or bad, but okay. But I think we've been together for 4 years, around
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah.
And so before
That's
that, what can you tell me a little about the difference between courses and private lessons?
In private lessons, I think I could focus on my needs.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was struggling with something, we start because we talked a lot. It's not just starting the class
Mm-hmm.
with a topic. Okay, so open your book on the page 19 and let's start the class. No, it's not. It's not like this. It's like how have you been?
Mm-hmm.
How was your week? and we start talking about my job or when I start a new project or something. And from this point, we can identify like something that I have to improve, you know. And maybe that's the main difference, because then you can like, okay, you just said something wrong, and let's fix it, you know. I think that's the
I
main difference, because in a group classes, you know, you're just one more student. It's not focused on you. So
That's true. So, Renato, tell me a little about your English is so great.
thank you, thank you.
You convey your ideas well.
Yes.
Yes, there are a few mistakes that could be corrected, but all in all, you communicate well. So, what's the source of your frustration?
It depends on with whom I'm talking to. Because like when I talk to you, I don't feel nervous.
That's
You know?
good.
Yes, because for 4 years, people. So it's a lot of time. So there's a moment you say to yourself, it's now or never. So you put yourself in the situations where you have to face your fears and start talking. But for example, you just met a new CEO, you know, which happened with me a couple of weeks ago. And it's like someone with power, you know, with presence and the energy of someone with this title, CEO, CTO, CFO, whatever, you know, it makes you kind of shake and doubt your confidence and your ability to speak English.
Absolutely, that happens.
I would prefer, you know, please just start talking in Portuguese, but that's not the reality, you know. I used to work for a company, and my whole team was based in the United States. So the only option was talking in English,
Yes.
you know. And they were very patient, you know, when, you know, you try to talk something, but you're, you know, the blink,
Yes.
I forgot a word, and you mimic. That's terrible. That's the, you know, the moment you feel frustration is when you start mimicking to try to express something and,
I see.
you know, find words.
You are right. You resorting to body language might seem a little humiliating for adults, which is different from kids. So my adult students tell me, oh, my kid learns English so easily and faster because they don't have any concern. That's not it. They don't have something we all do, which is shame. They are there, they are just, you know, trying to learn something new. But for adults, resorting to body language can feel a little humiliating. I understand.
Yes, yes.
And you said something very important, authority figure. Authority figure is intimidating by itself. And having to speak English adds to that, right? So I've had to do that myself. And I understand how you feel. It's kind of you draw blank. All of a sudden, all the sophisticated expressions you know, they kind of disappear, they go somewhere.
Yeah.
And you are like back to pre-intermediate level. What I always say, before you meet someone, before you have a meeting with somebody with authority, it is very important that you read something in English out loud. You count backwards, because then you send the message to your brain that you are switching the language.
Yeah.
And this can help. You know, all those tools that we have before presentations, you know, the superhero position, you know, voice practices, etc., they all help. But reading a text, a business text, out loud also helps.
Yes, yes. And something that has helped me a lot is adjusting my persona in English. I don't know if it makes sense, but in my mind, it does. Like, because I am the person that I am in Portuguese, it's totally different, from the one I am in English.
Yes.
It's kind of different personas. Totally, totally. And I've been trying, when I'm talking in English, and I feel nervous
Mhm.
because of the subject, because of the situation, and it's not only the authority, it's also the subject. Maybe you can, be in a tough conversation
Mhm.
with your manager or with a peer. In this moment, doesn't matter the level, but the subject. And then I identify, okay, I'm nervous because of the situation. And I try to slow down
Mhm.
because I think I start struggling because I am in this stress situation,
Yes.
and I start talking fast, and that's the moment I start struggling.
Mhm.
And then I say to myself, slow down,
That's it.
take a breath,
Yes.
slow down, and think slowly.
Yes.
Because you don't have to talk fast.
No, you don't. In fact, speaking fast can be very distracting,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows nervousness. And you don't want to show that you are nervous, do you?
No,
Not in a situation like
No.
that.
For sure. Yeah.
Yes, you wanna show people you are master of the house,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's very tricky because it's another language,
Mhm.
people with authority, tough conversations, difficult topics. And of course, it's only natural that your first language comes to mind, right? But apart from that, do you feel sometimes, do you catch yourself wondering, what have you been doing all this time studying English and not feeling fluent?
Maybe I was hiding.
Mm-hmm.
So because I wasn't confident enough with my English,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put myself in the situations to talk with people in English.
Oh, you were running away
Yes.
from those situations.
Totally.
And how would you do that?
So
You were hiding, so you were running away from meetings or conversations in English.
yes, I think that's definitely the situation. You
I
just
see.
hide. You are in a call, in a meeting with a lot of people. They are talking English, and you just, you don't manifestate
Yes, you are like just there in spirit.
in spirit. Yes, and thinking, oh my, I wish I could talk like they are talking right now.
So in those situations, there were moments, I imagine, in which you wanted, if the conversation had been in your native language, you
Mhm.
would have said something.
Yes.
But you chose not to say it.
Yes. So definitely. It is related to my persona. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but I'm very demanding with myself.
Mm-hmm. You are hard on yourself.
I'm hard with myself, yes. And I, like, if I'm not, good, really good, I not put myself in situations that I, can be, that I can do something wrong because I'm not well prepared.
I see.
So I ensure first that I'm well prepared, and then I put myself in certain situations.
I see.
But I also start seeing people that they just try, like kids, like you said. They are saying using the wrong words, the wrong structure, but they are trying. And because they are trying, they kind of, they are there. They are there. Now they are part of the circle, you know? And my desire to be part of, the circle of people who, communicate, even if they are, communicate poorly, but they are there.
Yes.
So I wish to be part of these groups.
So you touched a very important topic there. Yes, there are people who just put themselves out there, no matter how wrong. They know they are using the wrong structure, but they say it. This kind of students, they tend to struggle less and feel less frustrated because they really don't care what other people are going to think about their English, because they are focused on the content. As long as they can communicate, they are fine with it, And on the other side of the spectrum, there are students like you. And when they are perfectionists, they refuse to say anything, even if they are almost sure, like 90% of the sentence is correct. If there is one preposition they are not sure about, they just don't say it. And that breaks the confidence and becomes a source of frustration, because after the meeting, I don't know if you felt that before, after the meeting you say, oh, I knew it was that. Why didn't I say that?
Yeah.
Right?
Or I have practice.
Yes.
I have practice of a presentation, and at the moment you are there, with a lot of eyes, looking, staring you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's mostly fear of being judged, I suppose.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Because, look, for example, in a subject, because I work in supply chain, demand planning, and I know the topic. I know the process. I understand everything in Portuguese. And when you have to present something, present some numbers or a new strategy in English, it's kind of, you don't have all the words, you don't have all the, the structures that you have in Portuguese.
I see.
That's the point. That's the thing. You don't feel confident enough to be in these conversations because you are not well prepared.
For all circumstances, because you could anticipate a few questions, but you can't anticipate everything.
Yeah.
And that means you are not going to say whatever has to be said, and that jeopardizes your stand as a professional.
Yeah.
And I think that this could be something to change your mindset, maybe. What is more important? It is to be perfect or to be considered a solid professional. When these two things are together, perfect. But that might take a while.
Yes.
Until then, what are you going to choose? You see? So I had a long time ago a student who was pre-intermediate. He made several mistakes in third person of the simple present even. But when he was challenged by an American in a meeting where there were only Americans, he stood up for himself, even wrong. But the respect he got from that, exceeded any shame or fear he had. And that's very important, to have this balance. Who am I going to show? What's more important at this moment?
Yeah.
Because in a presentation, you can prepare yourself, can't you?
Yes, for sure. Yes, for sure. You can practice, you can study the material, the slides and everything. But that's the tricky moment when they start making questions.
Yes.
They start confronting you because, you're not in a class. You are in a business meeting, and you have to make your point. You know, if you need more budget, for example, for a project, you have to make your point. And then, yes, that's the moment we feel nervous, but as I said, I'm now I know myself better, and I understand the right moment I start feel anxious, and then I slow down. And if you have a question, I use the tricky words. You can say it better like, let me think about it. Just give me a moment, because it's a very important question. And
That's
you
it.
kind of gain time to
Yes, absolutely.
and start talking about
Yes,
it.
I'm processing.
Yes.
I'm processing.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I've heard it somewhere, or I've read somewhere, that you have your knowledge in Portuguese,
Yes.
and your brain has to build the same knowledge in English.
Yes.
When you don't have the answers in English, but you know in Portuguese, your brain first search it, in Portuguese, translate, and then it's kind of you transfer the knowledge for the first time,
Yes.
because it wasn't in English, and it was transferred, and then because you have it translated to English, you can.
You are right, because language, all the foreign languages you learn are in the lateral side of your brain. So it's kind of having two different databases, and one, it's like, well, the systems do that. If you don't have enough data here, you search somewhere else.
Yes.
And then this bridge might be a bit tricky, because we all know false cognates are dangerous, But the fact that you are aware of that helps a lot. And there is something I would like to point out. If you, with English, this level of English, and I'm talking to the people who are listening to us now,
Yes.
if you feel frustrated, can you imagine those who don't have your level of English? So does that mean they shouldn't join meetings in English or try to talk to foreigners?
Yeah.
It shouldn't, right?
No, yes, and I believe the more you live, because I think it's related to age, maybe. Because the more mature I become, the more confident, I am. And when I see someone struggling with English, it's totally fine, and we try to help each other, and like now I see that there's no problem if you forget word or something, you try to mimic. It's, of course, it's embarrassing, but you are at least you are trying.
You are putting yourself
Yes.
out there,
Yes.
which is something.
You are trying to speak another language to communicate with people who just speak in English.
That's it.
When you understand it, you say, no, come on.
Exactly. Perfectly.
I'm trying so hard here, so please try to understand and be patient with me.
Yes.
So, yes.
But most foreigners tend to be very patient
Yes.
and in awe, I imagine,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the experience I've had.
Yeah.
But of course, there are those who are impolite. They might even sound rude. I once had a student with a very awkward situation. He was in the meeting. It was a war room in which there were people from his country and some people, native speakers in English. And the people from his country were talking to him in his native language, and he was kind of trying to translate and, at the same time trying to find solutions.
I've been in these situations, yes.
It is tough because you are working with two. Some people will even have a third language there, which is Spanish.
Yeah.
And Portuguese and
It's a-
Spanish,
it's a
they
salad.
are not the same language
Yeah.
at all,
Mhm.
right? They might have some similarities, but they are a different language. So one of the native speakers in English said to my student, in my defense, that's not even English. And that is rude. And the answer I prepared my student to give this person was, well, anybody who speaks more than one language understands the struggle of trying to translate simultaneously.
Yeah.
So I apologize for that, but if you can contribute in French, Portuguese, Spanish,
Come on,
please.
let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that. You also have to know your stand as a professional. It's right. Most of us speak two languages. So that's why I think that the native speakers in English, they are kinder to us than our countrymen. And haven't you felt sometimes that you are being more severely judged by the people who are from your own country when you are speaking in English?
More judged by them?
Yes.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's sad,
It is.
because it kind of slow down the learning curve from the other person that you are judging.
Exactly. Because you break that person's
Yes.
confidence.
Yes.
And you are people who are working in the same team
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes.
Being corrected during a meeting,
Mhm.
that's tough,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why do we do that to each other? Like you said, now you understand that when somebody's speaking English and making mistakes, you are kind.
Yes.
You're trying to help, but you don't put that person on the spot. Of course you should. But I feel that there are some people who do that because in that way they build their confidence by destroying the other person's confidence.
That's definitely.
You see?
Definitely. Of course, they will never say it out loud, but I believe that's the feeling for sure. Yes.
But don't you think that everybody can see that by now?
I think so.
I think I can.
Yes.
I could see.
If you observe just superficially, you can identify those who just want to show off and be in the center. Yes, it's an ego thing.
So all of that sums and piles up to the feeling of frustration because it doesn't help,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I think that the most important thing is always keeping yourself focused on your own progress.
Yeah.
So that's why when I teach why you should say this and not say that, I kind of give an explanation because I'm preparing you for somebody from your own country or, I don't know, same continent, questioning you and trying to correct you, because then you can reply to that person, no, that's used like this because of that.
Yeah.
So one very important word is the word assertive.
Mhm.
In Portuguese and in some Spanish-speaking countries, it could be misunderstood as being accurate in their own language. But assertiveness is not that, and you know that, right?
I may know this. I should.
So this word, I've seen people from the same country correcting my students on that.
You're not being assertive.
Yes, like not being accurate.
Okay.
They meant not accurate, but they said the word assertive. And when my students said, no, I am accurate. No, the word is assertive. So I teach my students on why it isn't assertive. Because assertive is double S, and it has nothing to do with being correct in Portuguese, etc., etc. So that you have some elements to argue against the person who is correcting you wrongly.
Yes.
That's the point. Which is something, it's every day. Confidence is something you can destroy every day.
And easily.
And
Just
easily.
one word, one
look.
and
That's right.
You just
So,
spread yourself.
what is our job in that case? The English learning people. Should we defend ourselves on all that?
So for sure, we have to support ourselves. And when you see someone that is struggling, you can say, maybe you can say, I would say it politely. Can I help you out here?
Mhm.
Let's just, or just to confirm instead of interfere to, just like trying to support someone clearly. No, let me help you here. No, instead of saying it, maybe to confirm. Let me see if I understood correctly
Yes.
what you're saying.
Yes, very polite way. Yes.
So you're saying this and that. That's correctly. We are on the same page here,
Yes.
and that's it.
Yes. Instead of correcting your
correct
peer in
the
front
peer.
of everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. It doesn't help. And now I'm gonna sneeze. Okay.
You are holding it.
I was holding it. Okay. So the fact, this is a very elegant manner, and I think because for example, I'm fluent in English, and when I travel and I see people struggling, I never make fun of them. I never correct them.
Mhm.
And I never, if I understood the message, I don't pretend I don't understand.
Mhm.
Because you know how hard.
Why?
Yes, it's a very long journey to all of us, because learning a language is learning the culture, pronunciation, structure, collocation. So difficult.
Even in Portuguese, even in our native language,
Yes.
sometimes we are in a conversation or in a argument,
Yeah.
and we say something, we use a phrase or a word or something, and then it's done, and then the next day you just wake up and oh my, I should have used this.
Exactly. That happens a lot,
Even
right?
in Portuguese,
Yeah.
why in English would be different. So it happens.
It happens, and I think that instead of trying to defend, I see a lot of students wasting a lot of energy trying to defend themselves against this. It's important to understand you have zero control over what other people are going to say or do. But instead, focus your energy in being kind to yourself. Whatever you didn't know a week ago, you know now.
Yeah.
You are expanding your database, right? And that for itself should be a source of confidence. And this is something I keep repeating. I have students who are so concerned about attending meetings in English that they say something, they say, oh, I'm sorry, the connection is bad, and they just drop the call.
Wow.
Because they feel so nervous about
Uh-huh.
it. And I understand.
So they prefer skip it.
Exactly. Because it requires a lot of energy for you to have the courage to say something you know it's wrong. But you have to think about your professional stand. Wrong, right or wrong, I am communicating because we have a shared goal here. The important part is for you to get a result. That's it. Yeah.
No, totally. And another thing, I think at the moment you identify that you have your gaps in your communication, you have to put your skin in the game
You do.
and work hard because it's not simple. You know, it's not just watching movies and being there. The osmosis is a word in English.
Yes. No, it's not osmosis. No,
You have to work hard.
that's it. It's
You
like
try.
address
You
the
try.
issues you have.
Yes.
Yes. Now that you are in this level of English, has it been hard for you to level up?
Yeah, I think it's hard to tell because there's a moment when I have worked a lot in my confidence. Even if I'm saying wrong words here, using, you know, I have to say, I have to answer something.
Yes.
I cannot be in silence. So I have worked in my confidence, my learning process. So the learning curve, it's kind of, there's a moment, it's just details that you just adjust and you improve. You go to the next level. Now at the moment that I am with my English, I think I'm just adding new words in my vocabulary, and also improving my pronunciation. In the past, the when I was beginner, intermediate, I could notice more,
Yes.
more changes in my English.
Yes.
At the moment I was improving.
When you are
You know what I
basic,
mean?
yes, I do. When you are basic, your learning curve is like almost vertical.
Any word you
Yes.
learned it's like
Exactly.
a lot.
That's right. You are nearly advanced, but it's important to say that I am demanding myself, and you would be considered advanced in many other courses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was nervous, if I
No, but for any other courses, you would be
Yes.
considered advanced. It's just that for me, because I know you have to build your corporate persona.
Yeah.
And you can't give ammunition to these mean people. I make sure that you have a clean English.
Yes.
So I give the defenses. So for me, it would be upper intermediate. And for you to become fluent, which you have advanced and you have levels within the advanced level, right? But for you to become fluent and being able to talk about any topic that comes to the table, it requires much more effort than the effort you put in the beginning of your journey. And that's why people stop making that effort, because they have already studied for a long time. So they don't understand that at this last stretch, they should put much more effort in order to really elevate. And among my students, I've had 2 who have elevated. They work hard on that, and their English is completely different. Completely different. And they are very, very happy with the results. But you really have to work hard. And it's mostly about reading. It is about structures. And at this point in our class, right, that there are some mistakes that I interrupt you immediately because they are unacceptable. And others I kind of wait and say, yeah. So I think that there's that. There is no shortcut. But that doesn't mean you can't be confident. That's the point.
Yeah.
You don't have to be fluent to feel confident. The confidence has to do with what you're gonna say, however you're gonna say it. And for that, it is about putting yourself out there to be judged. I know exactly how you feel because I don't speak Spanish, for example. So when I speak Spanish, I feel like a child. You know, it's very limited. I can't communicate the basic, but I remember my own words. I said, let me try.
Yeah.
I kind of figured out some things. There are some words that I cannot pronounce, you know. And I tried and I repeat and I repeat and I repeat several times. And my son still laughs at me. He said, Mom, this is not.
Stop.
But when I go and I communicate with that pronunciation, I just go. And I feel that the fact that I am confident enough to use the very little Spanish I have helps me because people are super kind with me.
Yeah.
You know, so it has nothing to do with how much you know. And of course, the more you know, more confident you feel and more generous you are. And we have to separate. You don't have to know everything. What's more important? Your professional stand or the fact that you made a mistake in a verb tense or a preposition. You know, I think that mistakes in this level, they pale against the main topic.
Yeah.
And the fact that if you know you're going to be judged, embrace it. Yes, people say, oh, this word is correct. I said, you know, I've already tried it, saying that. And I did that with this word in Spanish. I went to a hotel and I said, I'm going to say something, but let's see if you understand, because it's scrambled eggs in Spanish. And it's very hard to say. For me, it's hard. So I practiced, and as I said it, and the guy said, he confirmed, like you said. And I said, that's it. And I said, great, he understood me. And I felt proud of myself.
Yeah.
And it's a simple thing, you know? So once you put yourself out there, judge away people. At least I'm trying. I've learned this word. I haven't mastered it yet, but I will.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you very much for our conversation.
Thank you. I thank you. That's really great.
Let's do this again sometime.
Yes, please.
So thank you for all of you who listened to our podcast. Please make your comment and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.